Yeah, chilling with the Zulu man.
Dreams delayed are never dreams denied. Firstly, Sawona to you, Sawona to yours. Thank you for having me.
Sure.
Thulani Malevu. I'm about to turn 29 this year.
Sure.
Right? Ukoko Uti, when I was about 3, already I'd walk around the spire singing and stuff.
Sure.
First got behind the mic professionally when I was 12. This must have been 2008, doing poetry in Sase Primary at the time.
My name is Richard the Poet, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I used to do poetry as well.
Sessions.
Sure.
So I'm going back where I'm going back, so that to paint a picture, right? And then obviously you go through primary, high school, and then I thought maybe at some point I'll study. I knew I wasn't good at maths. Don't get me wrong, I can count money, but I knew I wasn't good at maths. Right? So I don't go to varsity, and then I start working. Baba's like, no, you're like hi. We are the same.
Sure.
So I'm like, okay. Had great grades. I will not lie to you. I did.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool, sure, let me work. At that point, it felt like, you know what I mean. But looking back now at what was supposed to happen. So going back to Cwzm Wako, things happen the way they're supposed to. I think that's the beauty of everything, right? Yes, he may have studied law, but if his passion, if something that comes second nature to him is in farming, something that has to do with connecting with nature, because that's creation.
Exactly how he put it. Connecting with nature.
Because that's what it is. That's wealth. For him, he understands what his wealth is not signing up or being in court and what. Sure, the experience of him studying law will now come in hand in him being a farmer, because he'll be able to handle his matters. Even in my case, and I know this now, your dreams are never delayed. Like literally any and everything that happens to you is happening for you. So in my case, I've been working since 2015, and then so I was 18, start working fresh off high school. Thankfully for Amatuba, youth employment accelerators like Oharambi, shout out to them. They took me in. It was a work readiness program. So if maybe perhaps right now you need umsebenzi and stuff like that, you've got a metric, have a look. They're called Harambe. I'm not sure if they still are there.
Yeah.
Then I worked in call centers ever since, and then fast forward to 2017. So I'd been working 2015, 2016, 2017. I'm like, you know what? 4.5 ndanga. So my shift in Puma 11. It's not gonna cut it, you know. So then I'm like, okay, let me go to Joburg.
Sure.
And unfortunately, things happen, and then I find myself in Johannesburg. I hustle. I don't get him 70 per se that first 2 months.
Yeah.
Come back home in December, and then in January something was like, just go back. And then I go and then interview, and then I get the job. As I'm walking out, they call me again. They're like, no, 70, actually that post is closed. And I'm like, well, what happens now? You know.
You're still in Joburg.
Yeah.
Did you go there knowing somebody, or you were just going there just
in 2017 I went there knowing someone, but I think I quickly overstayed my visit, and then by December I went back home, and then in January, because already my stuff had already been in Joburg, I was like, let me just go back. Me, I'm a fighter. That's one thing I'll tell you. I fight, my guy. So I go back, and
I'm glad you mentioned that part. We have these people in some university somewhere that are called fighters.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So
okay, let's go.
I'm for the movement. Thank you.
Sure.
So, and then fast forward, they call me again in a couple of minutes. They're like, hey, there's another employer. Would you be interested in coming for an interview? I'm like, when? They're like, tomorrow. I'm like, okay, sure. So I called Untanga that I knew, Uspa. I'm like, yo, Uspa stayed in Westin, was squatting Namanyama out, making music. I'm like, dog,
sure.
I need a place to stay. I just did an interview now. It went well. And they said, I'm missing this one, but I'll get another one. I'll come back. I'm just trying to paint a picture. And then fast forward, the following day I go there. It turns out it was F&B. I get the job. I only had my metric. And from that job, I worked from February, I think 20th, until the 10th of Jan 2022. From that, I got a car, I got a place, I stayed in beautiful places in Johannesburg. I was able to support my family, but it wasn't my path, it wasn't my journey.
If you could just hold that thought.
Yes, sir.
This is the second time somebody comes and mentions F&P here, bro. I think we're onto something.
In terms of sponsorships, right? Because we're having this conversation behind the scenes, or would say maybe it's something that you guys must look into. Oh, that myself included, business they must look into. So I think surely we can work something there. I don't know what, but when they see this, whoever that works at First National Bank, and also knowing that I used to work there, my story is about to be known globally. It's a beautiful one, it's a sad one, but it's a story of triumph. And there's other people who've also done the same thing as well, who've worked there. And to those whom are still working there, I think also this will be testament to which you can just simply follow your dreams, and things will work out. So that whole thing, F&P, you gotta come on board.
Definitely. So you get a car, you're able to support your family.
Yeah, but so Nandi, and then I'm like, okay. Again, remember I went to Joburg to sing, right? So if this is something I didn't mention, that's the main reason why I went to Johannesburg to sing. And I knew good people make it big, make it happen that side. And I was like, okay, cool. Now when obviously I'm working now, we're approaching 5 years. I've moved around Johannesburg. I've stayed here, I've stayed there. Go Cwzm City, go Fendale, go Bramley, go Westin, Deep Kloof. I'm just like, I wasn't fulfilled because again, I knew I'd made an agreement with myself. We're going to Joburg, but we'll start with something stable, right?
Yeah.
How are we starting with something stable? We'll get a job, learn how to manage your money, because where I come from, not everybody is financially literate, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to finances.
That's not mine, bro. It is.
Oh, that's my phone. No, it's on silent. Yeah, Kala. It doesn't matter. I think this is more important. They can wait.
Thank you.
So, and then I when I left here, I wanted to sing. I'd already started recording and what and working pushing Tegwin. The reason I went to Joburg is because I wanted exposure. I wanted to be closer to where people make it big. I wanted to see how they do it. And it did happen. But then me being an F&B was not giving me that. Because remember, I was working 5-6 days a week.
Sure.
When do you then get the time to be in the studio? You're exhausted. You can't. So I was like, okay. Yeah, I take my chances and my risks, bro. And then December 2021, I'm like,
December 2021, I'm finishing my matric then.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. That's how young I am.
So then I'm like, you know what? I was about to turn 25 actually.
Sure.
If I'm not mistaken, that year. And I'm like, there's two things that happen. People who are great have gotten to crossroads whereby they either truly go for what they want or they submit to the fear. And I was like, I know very well if I continue with this job, I will not be happy. Sure. Right? Mind you, I've stayed in an estate, in a gated estate. Nobody has done that in my family. So to me, it's right? Even right now, in the CPT, I'm not fazed by people staying in estates per se, not in a bad way, but it's something I've done from a young age.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that before getting into the music business, into the music space.
Sure.
Because also, again, that touches on, when Klambe say people are not making as much in music, and then they're forcing things and they're staying in places that they can't afford. I mean, I wanted to do it the other way around, incorporate and learn and what. And I did that. And then I gathered as much experience as I could in terms of having a budget, in terms of managing my relationships, in terms of money. Because when you work for a bank, it's more financial than anything. So I learned about credit and all those other things, which are now working in my favor as I no longer work there. So I did that, and then I left. The reason why I left is because I was not happy genuinely. I was genuinely not happy. You know, when you wake up every day, it was worse in COVID because I was working from home. You've got a studio unit, now desk, but you you hate waking. I just like, do I gotta do this today? You know, and
as dons.
We as dons are dog.
Sure.
Yes, but also you look at the fact that you are young. Also another thing I must mention, when you come into the workspace, be grateful. You will meet a lot of people abadala who also hate what they do, who don't like themselves, it's up to you to open your mind. And when I quickly opened my eyes working for First National Bank, the money was good. It could have easily influenced me to stay and suck up the bullshit. But that voice that kept calling inside was like, you have to get the F out of here, right?
Sure.
So I left. And also just saying abantu kanje emsebenzini engisebenza nabo ukuthi uSpanman is not happy with their job. Mhlambe nje abe happy 2 weeks straight, omunye abe absent. Omunye absent for a month, sick leave ka 2 months. And you're like, it's not that Untanga doesn't like what they do, but now there's no other option.
Sure.
And also they've reached a point where they feel that they can't anymore maybe explore other avenues. I'm still young, I'm still fresh, let me run. So I fast forward, I hambe, and then then I get into real estate, which is another one of my passions. Again, real estate, I've got a lot of amazing stories about my life. So then I get into real estate. My first property, I don't even have my fidelity certificate at the time. I'm just like, okay, I like real estate. I know I like property. So school in high school, Miss Slides, shout out Miss Slides. I'm from DCL, always in the secondary school.
Yeah.
I'm patela my newspapers.
Where's that?
All. Kuse St. Wendel's, Kwasant, Meranhid. But I'm not so actually my dog.
Oh,
so
doesn't okay.
Yes, yeah. So that's where I come from.
Doesn't okay.
Yeah. So from it, it's a walking distance.
Yeah.
So I've always been intrigued by property, but again, I also realized this. My love for real estate property came from the fact that growing up, we never had a car. So the idea of people having homes and stability, I like that, right? I now realize now that I'm in the space, I'm like, oh, I like the idea of being able to be in a secure and a stable home. That's what has driven me toward real estate. So then I do that. In less than 2 weeks, in Galil, how? I told license, and then I get my first property. How much is the property? 9.5 million rands, right? I've never done this before.
You're buying it or you're selling it? Oh, okay. 9.5 million.
Yeah. If you go through my Instagram or my socials, you'll see it. I didn't sell it, but there's a lesson and there's a reason why I'm mentioning this. So this is less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then my principal at the time, Robbie, what's his surname? Robbie Kisser, I think.
Yeah.
Broadacres, Rosen Properties. He then says to me, how did you do it? I was like, I don't know. I just spoke to Renee.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's my boy. I don't think you realize it, but you've got a gift of the gab.
Sure.
Then I started realizing, I was like, oh, gift of the gab. Then this thing gotta work for me, right? So then I do that. It doesn't really work accordingly. Then it gets to a point where I'm just like, so I need to sell this car. So I sell it back and kokeli bange back, and then in selling in Aluto. And then remember, in real estate, you must drive around.
Sure.
Now I couldn't do that. So now I must walk from Laiben to the office, which is about, I think, a 4 kilometer distance or a 5 kilometer distance.
Walk.
So from driving a nice car in a sunroof, now you must walk now.
So it's all still in the estate. I'm on the
I'm still in the area, but now we should be it. Right?
Sure.
So other people would see me now it was a humbling experience. But then that's when I started realizing I don't walk alone.
Sure.
And also there's powers that are beyond me, because I kept hearing something about
how far back is that music?
This is 2022.
Okay.
Sir.
So way after Bigo.
After
Steve Bigo, I see Steve Bigo, I see Lucky Dube.
Listen, those are my people from day one.
Yeah.
Now what they know.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Those are my people. Don't worry.
Sure.
This is 2022. So 2022, I think I must have been 25. I'm 28 now, turning 29 in April.
Yeah.
So that happens, and at that time, I think it was a spiritual awakening of some sort. They say to you, before a breakthrough happens, you need to be broken, or a breakdown needs to happen.
This is a Jeep, bro.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah.
Man.
Let me see, which one is that?
The black one. Yeah.
I was 24 when I got that.
Damn.
I think I was 24, 23, somewhere there. I was like,
sure,
I'm gonna do that. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I've worked so hard, and I come from the pit of the pit. Those that know me know my story.
Yeah.
I believe in because it's this body that works.
Sure.
Right?
Cwzm
uzame dog. Even njengamanje ngifake one of my, I think, shirts consider beautiful because I'm like noma sengivela sengithi 10 years from now it's okay, at least look good. So that happens, and I sell that baby because I believe in naming things.
Sure.
And little did I know, when I sold Umkhuleko the car, then I would then have to solely rely on prayer to survive. Right? It's true what they say, everything that happens to you happens for you. I always tell that guy over there. Special shout out to you, by the way. That happens, and I've got, so I sell the car, I can't afford rent anymore, I don't have money for food, I can't meet my targets, go real estate, I can't go see my clients, I can't call my clients because I'm not airtime, I'm not manzi, I'm not loot, right? And then something kept saying, Amand. So where I stayed, there was like a mini dam sort of. If you know Broad Acres, 4 Ways, Farm All, not in the countryside sort of, there was a man's. And whether ngiyabhema plumbing a rehearsal, because I've been right in between with a corporate, but I'll always make my music. I kept hearing something that said Amans, and I was like, and it was my mother's voice. Mind you, my mother's late. And so I was like, That's when I sort of like knew there's an awakening that's happening, and I need to submit. And I submitted. And then fast forward, I met some Untanga was like online for Instagram. I was like, yo, you sound really dope. How about you join? You could join something like Umoja. What's that? I'm like, oh, okay, sharp. Umoja, a team from back in the day, they've done really, really well in terms of Amatozo, Mam Totwala, or Mam Teminyandeni. They are at the forefront of Umoja.
Sure.
So then I think, the dream believing. Then I think, finally, it's coming together.
Yeah. This
is around September 2022, August. Then I have to move from there to Soweto. That's where Pela Msebenzi is happening at Deep Kloof. So when I get to Deep Kloof, it turns out, actually, the Msebenzi is not really there. Right? So Untanga, he's a con artist. They conned me, and he conned the lady whose house I now stay at. But again, because everything that happens to you happens for you, I've got banking experience, I've had a car before, I've got a reputation that I've built for myself. And as much as it may not necessarily be a big thing to the next person, but my experience came in handy for me. So then this lady is like, and like ubani?
Asking that guy or you?
Asking me.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I'm now in Deep Kloof. She's my landlord now. She's like, and like ubani? I'm like, no, Thulani, I've always wanted music. She's like, okay. She's like, I have a media agency. We do media buying. It hasn't been on the ground for a while, but I think we can do amazing stuff together.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, media buying. What does that mean? She's like, no, airtime, radio, TV, what.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Akiri, I've always seen myself as a star.
Yeah.
So now it starts to make sense. It's like, even though I'm not going to be singing for Mocha.
Yeah.
But I'll be in the mix. Again.
Somewhere there.
The dream needs to believe. You need to find yourself. Then I somehow, and then fast forward again. Then we now manage Mam Winnie Kumalo, may soul rest in peace. Same company or pubs, Nesta, bit of sevens with the Putum Zambia, ultimately meeting Orita. So it's literally been that. So I left here, went to Joburg to pursue music. Worked as a banker. I got to a point where I was just like, I can't. And then I left voluntarily. I sacrificed myself and I lost everything. And my gift literally made room for me. My ability to speak, my voice, and trusting the fact that I don't walk alone. That truly made way for me.
I'm glad to
go to Amanzi, and thankfully we've got water here.
Yeah.
So before moving to Deep Kloof, I kept hearing Amand. And it was my mother's voice. Mind you, my mother passed away in 2010. So now I'm like, Amand. This is when I knew my things were working in my favor. And then I moved to Deep Kloof. That's where I went now work for the media agency for the lady, Usis Bus. So when I work for Usis Bus, she goes to church, again. We are Kulega Tabam. So my Kulega, she has what? Meti. So if you're a person who pays attention, that's the meti I've been needing all along.
Oh.
Okay, let me break this down for you. When things happen in your life, you need to pay attention.
Sure.
before moving to Deep Kloof Soweto, I kept hearing the fact that I need amanzi somewhere somehow. Then miraculously, I'm introduced to this woman who's so strong in faith, and she's sort of found who she is in terms of spirituality. And also, again, she's a well-known actress. She was on Mubango. She's done amazingly as an actress. You've probably seen her on TV.
Who's that?
Oh, Busisiwe Bunene.
Sounds familiar.
She was, what's her name? I think she was Mubango on the very first season of Mubango back in the day. But she's done really, really well. So thank you to Sisbi when she sees this. So Sisbi, she had inkonzo again, and what. And the manzi that I kept hearing about, I would now semele ngibe nenkonzo yami. But enkonzo yakhe in her doing her things, she would always pray. So the universe was saying to me, you need to lean in towards something bigger than yourself. And what you've been hearing in terms of water, you need this, you need that. All that you just need is you need to connect to something bigger than yourself. And I saw how she did what she did, and then and then I saw what that did to my spirit, and I realized I'd just been gallivanting in Mhlabeni. Right? Yes, I'm a water baby, I'm a water spirit. We are led from Thulani Malevu, we're led by water spirits, I understand that. But that's something I had sort of forgotten and disconnected from when I worked as whatever I worked as before. So there's a lot of epiphanies I would have on a daily basis, whether I'm saying 7 or whatever. Again, this is not to say, oh, this is gonna get me in trouble. I hope it doesn't. I don't believe in religion. I've never, and I'll never.
Sure.
And I'm very comfortable with that, and I know it makes some people and
Yeah.
I've
Definitely not here.
yeah, thank you. So I have gone through my own experiences as buhlungu to get to a point where I realize that's not for me. So I'll use her an example. Unkulunkulu will always, or Abagin will always prepare you.
Yeah.
So this woman I was looking up to at that time.
So as it when you're saying religion, and then you mentioned unkulunkulu, people get confused in that because religion is what?
I feel like religion is a business.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is it's man-made institutions.
Sure. Yeah.
Of which then there's hierarchies. That's there must be father sort of, there must I receive what they must pay for me in order for me to be closer to them. I'm closer to God.
Yeah.
And none of that, my love. There's none of that. What being around Usisbi reminded me was number one, was also realizing there's a God within me that has been hidden, that has been so humble to the point that I had forgotten the power that is within me. So
remind me of the song of is it Mazwai that yeah.
Thank you. So I had forgotten. Also again, sort of.
Yeah.
So I'd forgotten all of that, right? So when I then met this woman, all of that starts coming back.
Sure.
Right? Sometimes I remember at times she'd be like, so I just read the Bible, and again, I don't have Bible reading experience. So if it almost is when I would take it in the literal sense and interpret it, and this is not to klegesa in any way. I would take it and interpret it in terms of how I understand it. If it too banbanungenile wa angazi mhlambe ophethe ibhake indish enamafruit wanikeza and then wasale nawan or mhlambe uqala wanikeza yena, I would take that as when you walk into a space, yes, you will need to share, but you must always have something reserved for you. Before you give, there must always, your cup must be full before you actually give on to other people, right? So it was a mind shift for me. The more we'd read my scriptures and stuff. And I mentioned this because it was important in building who I am, because again, I never knew stories or Hannah, or Moses, or what. And we realized these are experiences that people were having with uNkulunkulu wabo. Therefore, there is uNkulunkulu for me. And the uNkulunkulu that's for me says, you don't have to go to church. You just simply have to, at certain hours, maybe you wake up and you pray. If it means usebenza amanzi or light amakhandlela or uyaphahla or light impepho, it's just that small yana voice, right? So working for OCSB really did for me is it opened me up in terms of what I didn't understand myself to be and what I then sort of started understanding myself to be in the spirit. Because also I think I was premature, so to say, and I looked at how
on the spiritual world.
Yeah, I mean I could yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, dog. Like I think I was there, but I needed, that step, that stamp that I think I needed that. So it really opened my eyes being around her. There's forces. If you start a business, you need to pray for your business. When your business starts doing well, you need to give. You need to, like for an example, now I've got a Thulani Malevu Foundation, where I give away uniform and stuff to my former high school. This is in the secondary school. This year I hope to go even bigger. Ideally, had I not met her, had I not worked with her, no matter what to know Winnie, I would have probably thought this is my money. You know what I mean? But now I understand what it's bigger than myself. So there's a lot that I learned. Yes, there's a lot of things that you will learn via religion, but for me it just isn't. Because again, there's a lot of confinements in religion. Whereas if I listen to what my spirit says, it doesn't limit me really. It's just like, do what you need to do. But so long I know I'm not better than anyone. And also again, no one is better than me, because I think I've seen this with religion and I hate it. It sort of puts people on a pedestal, and then they think because when they are now superior than other people. No, you're not. You are not superior because mhlambe Roman or when usondela uthela or sorry or omunye mhlambe uyakubushira, and none of that.
Sure. Now let us come back to music, because you started doing music. Everything you did, you kept doing music.
Yes, sir.
Now you have received this spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
How does that affect your music?
Okay. So angithi then assistant manager to Owen. Again, I'm not an outgoing person naturally. So meaning I can just count from the top of my head how many concerts I've been to. Right, so meaning I wouldn't have that backstage experience. So now it gave me a backstage access. So I now know what it's like to prepare for shows. Yes, I've been recording, writing, producing music for a long time, but now it gives me the actual shitbang in terms of business. How do you get sponsors? I'm a proposal or buy, you know what I mean? All these other things, and
you're the guy. He's the guy.
So
it's
my sponsors or what. Then I started learning all of that. Right. But what that did was I remembered who I am in terms of the gift that I carry musically.
Sure.
Because when ngihamba noma mwini all the time ngibabona beperforma no rethabile, I remember I've got this inside of me as well. So I see how they do it and we chat, and I'm like, and I really realize that you just simply honor the thing that says to you, do what you got to do, right? The rest will be made available to you. So being there and the whole thing, yankolo. Again, umculo is highly spiritual. I don't think there's a way I could explain it, but it's just that. Like, it's highly spiritual, and if you're going to have a spiritual awakening, there's a lot of songs that will come to you. And when they come, I now know. I think for a long time I used to think it's just my own doing, but now I truly know it's not my own doing.
Yeah.
It is literally not my own doing. I hope I'm answering your question. I don't know. I hope I am.
Coming with us.
So your question was, how has it then shaped my music?
How did it affect your music? Yeah.
Here's how it has shaped my music and affected my music. First, what the umsebenzi we are paid, right? So I get fired from the job because of my beliefs. Yeah.
Who's that?
Yep. Because I was like, at some point I was like, I knew, yes, we would colleague and what, but mase sifunde iBhayibheli sesithi uNkulunkulu kaJoseph, uNkulunkulu wena what angazi ibingahlali emzini, like ibinga,
peace with you.
It just didn't feel right. Yes, I would colleague and everybody would pray, but there was never a time, even now, there's never been a time in my life where I pray and I mention Jesus. There's never been a time when I mention the God of Abraham, God of Maria, what. Not in a bad way. I just don't resonate. Like, it feels doesn't feel authentic to me. Whereas if I say mdala imvile inqango wena wadala izulu wadala umhlaba wadala bonke abahambe before me that I know, I get shivers down my spine immediately. I feel it.
Sure.
Right.
You can feel good. You're connecting with something.
I feel that I'm connecting with something.
Yeah.
So she helped with harnessing that, and then fast forward last year again, still isn't as because now I understand who I am spiritually. I meet this guy randomly. My things just happen in the most random of ways, right? So when I meet him, Filthy Haynes, so he comes. I was staying at Absa Towers at that time in Marshalltown. So when he comes, uhamba no mbongiseni. I used to work at bank. So they needed assistant with moving funds across some business accounts and whatnot. So I go, come through, we'll talk. I remember figure
easy stuff.
I'm like, hey guys, angisakho bank but kumla ngisekungaphakathi but nga-arrange ama-out amasangaphakathi yabona ngizobathinta bethu banisize and stuff. Hi, okay, sharp. And then I'm playing beats engiwenzile endlini. And then one of the guys is like, oh, you make beats? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I also make music. I'm like, okay. So he's like, I'd like to work with you on a song. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah. And then fast forward, he was like, actually, I'd like to work with you. So bahambe, fast forward, I think a week later, and then we go and we start. Or then it says, oh, I'd like to invite you over for a session. There's a guy called LA, what. I'm like, I think I've heard the name LA before. Again, it's amazing how things unfold. So it makes time, eventually we go. Lapaya at Jewel City, LA, staying at Diamond at the time. So the producer Lapaya LA beat. Shout out LA. How do you feel that? I see Plek, I see Big Zulu, I see Malening. I'm like, okay, I'm a spiritual being. I know nothing just happens. I knew there was something that was going to happen in that room that will change my life. I didn't know what, I didn't know how.
Sure.
On our way, Messamba's studio, the guy was like, dog, I would like you to really, really go out, just go out of your way with the song. And I was like, Miss studio, I'll just pour my heart out. Right? If you listen to the song Amazulu, it's literally from that, because I'd gone through shit. And I was like, I've been praying, I've been hoping, I've been believing that I've got ancestors, I've been believing that I've got angels that guide me. When are things going to come to be? I've lost him, although I've left umsebenzi because I believe that these things work out. When is it going to? That's how the song Amazulu came about. So we recorded that song when we got to that studio. And so it turns out how Wele has also produced Malening, he co-produced Malening. And I'm like, okay, I'm in safe hands, you know? Yeah. And if you listen to the song, it's a beautiful song. Amazulu, Filthy Haynes, LA Beats, Thulani Malevu now. Because again, there's another step of alignment and spiritual awakening that has taken place, so I know how to present myself better. So yeah, kwenzeke lokho. Again, because now I knew who I am spiritually, I knew the opportunity that I was presented with.
Sure.
LA in his place there is got, is it a summer? I think it's a summer award. I asked to hold it. I was like, can I hold it, dog? I was like, yeah, with whatever song that we record, I'm seeing global, I'm seeing festivals. And I was like, I'm glad you see that, because immediately when I touched it, I felt that. Something said global, something said international. We hadn't started recording. The beats had just been go. And I think and I feel literally that's what that song is going to be. I look at how we recorded that song, and then mind you, this is last year, 2024.
Sure.
I've been recording 2024. I'm 27. I've been recording music since I was 12. There's no big break, right? None. Anybody could have given up, but because I followed what is inside, I kept pursuing. And now we record that song, it sounds amazing, and then I was like, I think we're onto something. Let's record a video. And I'm like, I've never done a video. Record a video.
A music video.
My first bathi ngiyabhodla bathi confirmation bep ngesingisa ngazi. Anywho, and then when it's time to record to the video, I had never been. I don't like being in front of the camera. That's one thing. I'm trying to make peace with it now. Right? I'll explain. We'll come to that maybe.
Yeah.
But it's from my previous life. I'll explain that. We'll get there. So the opportunity arises. When ituba arises, most of my opportunities and it's either I wish, in your case, whoever that sees this, they find you in a better position than I was. I had no money. I was squatting. I had no money for food. I had no money for nothing. The shoot of Amazulu, everything was divinely orchestrated. I'll tell you that. I think my ancestors worked with my ancestors on Danga. However, everything came together beautifully. I don't know how it happened. And I remember vividly saying to myself, waking up in Gaza, because there was no food until. I was like, dog, you are going to go out there, you will sing. You've never been in front of the music, you don't like being in front of the camera, but you'll go out there, you will sing. This is what you believe you're here for.
Sure.
You've written the song. What do you have to lose? Nothing. And I went and I did that. And little did I realize the doors that will open for me. Fast forward. Little did I realize the awakenings that will take place in terms of my self-esteem, my self-belief, and how I saw myself, and also the communication and the downloads from Umdali and whoever that I work with. It's changed everything, right? Again, fast forward, I think 2 months later, again, jiggy, because now I understand. It's a studio, LA. One of the guys is there. Now my friend, Divine, from Amandine. Shut up, boy. Divine is a producer.
Yeah.
Right? And he's also an actor. He's an amazing actor. And I often say this, Divine wang shela musically. Let me explain what I mean by that. So
you have to.
Yeah. So Divine is like, no, I'm going to beat.
Yeah.
Danga just gets up.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard something like that in my life.
You're chilling with the Zulu man.
Igama ukhohlwa umfazi osoyidelela indoda umaduba ishiya mkhunto kwaza amazulu, and you're still on chilling with the Zulu man. So you take the seat and you make the beat.
Not me.
Another one.
Wayihleli nje kanje lapha.
Sure.
Ele ngala. Nayi equipment lapha. So kuMuntanga, remember he's wearing his beanie black. Fake shirt skipper sakhe esimhlophe. Clean nje ufana samandeni. So this chubby guy gets there, he's like,
yeah.
There's a song called Amabili. Hasn't dropped as yet, but if you go on my socials, it's there. He made that beat. And I'm like, who is this? I'm not sure if I can play Amabili, but okay, maybe we will over time. But anyway, he makes that, and I'm just like, who the flip is this guy?
I can't wait to hear the song because Amabili.
I think it's the only love song I have in the past year that I made in the past year.
Sure.
It just came, right?
Yeah.
And again, I just knew, which there was something special about that moment. And he made the beat. The words literally just came out of me. Also, I've never went back again. And then fast forward a couple of days later, when I was talking on Instagram, that's how my EP was born, Obizo. So that's a project. Guys, I have done well. But now Obizo is my testimony in terms of my trials, my tribulations, and everything that I went through this past year. And from taking the leap of faith in 2022 to this present moment. So and then I've worked with Divine again.
Yeah.
His producer majority is the executive producer on the EP.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the world to hear it. And I think, can I say this? I'm looking at that camera.
Yeah.
Obizo, the Calling EP, it is going to change my life in ways I never imagined possible. and it's also going to change people's lives in ways I never thought possible. I look at how, for an example, when I now sing the song Ubizo sonke sibizelwe ubosa, you know, when I sing that now, I'm hitting it from a hill point. When I was singing it then, I was singing it trying to lean towards Ubizo Lam because it was calling. I was like, khona lento engibizayo. Now I know. Ukuthi mina nalento engibizayo so.
Sure.
Right?
Just to go back a bit and out of a way after
Yes,
way,
sir.
you saying Amabili, it's first love song. Yeah, well?
Yeah, when Amabili, I don't know. Yeah, there's also dynamics on the song Amabili.
Yeah.
And it irritates me because now sometimes when you use somebody's studio, go back on the dynamics, so go to intellectual property, you can't release, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I don't know how that song is gonna get out, but the one thing I know for sure is Amabili is a beautiful song. I would love for the world to hear it, but there's no way that song will go out. Probably this is gonna stir trouble, but there is no way. No, I'm not scared of anyone. There is no way that song will go out without my consent and without the consent of it divine.
Okay. My question was that if it's your first love song.
It's not my first love song.
Okay.
Last year that I made last year.
Okay. How through the struggle from 2015 until last year, 2024?
Love has been bad, if that's what you want to ask.
That's what I'm asking.
It's been horrible. It's been horrible. It's been horrible. And again, I think I've always been searching for something.
Sure.
I've always been searching for something, and I've never known what it is, but now I understand what it is. I've just been searching for me that I now understand myself to be. And what I mean by that is there was no way I was going to settle for you saying you love me, and then I'm like, no. Like I've never this is a trauma response. Never. The idea of love,
sure,
I feel like it's misused. I feel like it's misplaced. I feel like people say they love each other with hopes of what they can get from the next person.
Sure.
I value Amakama very much. There's never been a person that I've said I love you, I miss you, I care about you, how are you, without actually meaning it, right? So yes, I may have had situationships. Don't get me wrong. I got me some snacks, got me some situationships.
How was on my song?
Yeah, but the one thing I'll tell you is I haven't been in love, right? I haven't been in love because, again, there was no love that I was going to give you, him, or the next person without fully loving myself. I've gotten to a point where now I love Thulani.
Yeah.
Now I love everything about myself. You see, here, this thing is the fact that I've got impandla.
Yeah.
Before, it would make me like, oh, what would people think? I've gotten to a point where I'm comfortable with who I am. So
yeah.
Then I could be like, hey, what's up?
That one is going straight to TikTok, bro. That one straight to TikTok.
You know, but and also again, I there's people hide behind love. I'm not saying I'm not deserving of love. Sure, I'll get to a point where I commit myself to a person, or I find somebody that commits to me. The time will come. But for now, another thing you'll notice, I'm full of facial expressions, and I even make them when I'm alone. Like I make my own jokes. I
think that is the what. I think that is the gift of being introverted, because you mentioned that you're not an outgoing person.
Yeah.
You make a lot of jokes.
In cope, you know what I mean? So I haven't been diehard looking for love. Valentine's Day is on Friday. Definitely, I can say, you can book me. I can come and sing. But I and even now, I can't say I'm looking for love. Here, guys, the one thing I'll tell you, Undo behind the camera will tell you, I'm very focused. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to survive. I see myself as a billionaire. Why I say that is because I've got an abundant spirit. I look at the things I've been able to achieve, and love is
doesn't make it to the list quietly.
Oh, dog.
Sure. Now, you're saying one of the things that
things could change. Things could change. but I'm not there yet.
Things
For
could
now, I'm
change.
working on myself.
Things
I wanna
could change.
be the best.
Ngiyawasaba amandla abantu besimame. Makuthiwa
I
things could change.
wanna be the best version of myself I possibly can.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
One of the things that you said, wait, before ngikuyeke lapha, ngingakuyeki.
Yes, come on with it.
Then we'll see. Emotion njalo mothi you wanna get what you wanna get,
Yes.
and then we'll see. It's like uthi khona umuntu okhona kodwa manje angifuni ukumnaka kakhulu yabo mase ngilapha sengigrand yabo sengizobuya ke ngimnake ngqo yonke ayishoyo leyo kahle kodwa ke angikho lapho.
Those are not my words.
Not your words, but I
Those
think
are not my words.
ngiyakuzwa, and I think a lot of guys would relate to that because izinto othe uzikhohliwe.
Yes.
You mentioned ukuthi umkhulu was inyanga and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, and then you also mentioning that calling ukuthi you were trying to follow your calling. How relatable do you think it is to
How does it all come together?
umkhulu? Yeah. Yeah.
I am who I am because of where I come from.
Sure.
I am who I am because of Ubongiwe Thulani Malevu.
Yeah.
Ozalwa Mkhulu Malevu. I am who I am because of Ufunise Nzama. Ozalwa Magaba Nzama.
Sure.
Right? Umkhulu was Ukobela to some other people. He was Umelapi. He was a prophet, bishop sort of. But I know when I was younger, and I do mean shout out to my family, Bagwa Malevu.
So your grandpa was for religion.
Oh, my granddad was. He could make shit happen, right?
Sure.
He passed away in Cape Town, and he visited me not so long ago. This is why I say it's important to go through your spiritual journey and understand.
Yeah.
Hence, even now I'm able to talk to you and be comfortable. Even this opportunity came as a result of Umkhulu visited, right? A lot of people will understand a lot of things about themselves through me as I share more of myself, because I'm literally the guy next door, but whose eyes have been opened.
Sure.
So Umkhulu, originally Bagwa Malevu are from Swaziland.
Yeah.
And then they move here. However, they move. Baqale bahlale Scott, Maritzburg, and then eventually bafika show kanjani umkhulu wayo lapha. One of the families bakashange. If was indawo yasemawusheni ebawushene show, you would know baningo shange. So why is lapha? And then it ended up happening that many other people needed his services.
Yeah.
Just to give you a glimpse idea in terms of what my grandfather could do, there's what they call isbuko.
I've heard of that.
Yes. So I remember when I was a baby, people would just come ekhaya. Abantu abahlanya emakhanda, or other things, you could name it.
Yeah.
Inkabi, you name it. Abadinga amakhambi, abadinga ukuboniswa what. And Umkhulu could do that, right? And ever since he passed away, when did Umkhulu pass? I think he passed away in 2007, 2008. Somewhere there, because I know 2 years later my mom passed away. It must have been 2008.
So when he was saying he visited you, it was of a dream kind of,
It wasn't.
like physical.
It was I felt his presence.
Oh yeah.
Here's how I know. Remember when I said when I was working for the media agency in Klaleso, what? At some point, and I vividly saw faces of familiar people and others I didn't. It was like a lot of faces of abantu. It was as if ubona imirage like utalako kwakungathi amanzi ngangihleli phezu kombhede, but it looked like abantu abaningi, abantu abadala kodwa. And I was like, that was weird, right? Now, knowing what I know, I understand that it's just a visit. So I often get Ama visited from time to time. Like yesterday, I was having a chat with my mom.
Yeah.
You feel it.
Yeah.
How will
I
you
feel
feel
you.
it?
I feel you.
You feel it, right? So Nakona, that came in the form of a feeling. And then bese uyalalela ke bese unembeza or whatever that guy would say, and then you follow that.
Sure.
So upon going through my journey, and then I've had to do a lot of reminding myself of where I come from. And I've had conversations with Ukoko, unfortunately Sakon, Mfazka Malevu. By having those conversations, I get a lot of epiphanies, and I'm like, oh, okay. And as again, ukuthi you are your people truly.
Yeah.
Mkhuluma ishona umamncane wahamba uthwasa uncane, and then she didn't practice. There isn't anyone who practice. I'm not saying isangoma. I am not isangoma, and most people will never be isangoma. But there's izipho umkhulu
No
that
more,
he
yeah.
had. Galo. Now I've got umoya in abundance. So I now understand it, where it came from and how it works. I'm learning. I'm teaching myself how it works, because again I believe ukuthi ngingunkulunkulu. Angithi ngiseningizimu Africa. Therefore ngingunkulunkulu. I mustn't rely on other people ukuthi bangitshela ukuthi kumele wenze ukuthi kumele umoya uyangihola. Nengihamba nganabo bayangihola. So it's just been going back and realizing that, and also then realizing the family that I come from. And this is not to say but truly I'm a rare breed, right? I look at my family, the things I've been able to do, no one has done in my family.
Yeah, the chosen one.
Yeah, I can call it that. You can call it that, but I take it seriously. All of us have been called. Other people have chosen to not answer. I answer to whatever it is that's been calling me, and I feel more and more things will be revealed as I go. I feel right now I haven't even touched the surface. I'm just,
stepping into it.
I'm just getting started. I'm just warming up, but we will see. Here's one thing I know, because I know who Mkhulu is.
Yeah.
And the great work that is done for people in Africa. I know that I need to continue that legacy in whatever shape, way, or form. For the longest time, I went by the name Thulani Malevu. Recently, I changed my surname back to Malevu because I feel the presence of Malevu, they are too dominant in my existence over, not in a bad way, right? And also, I can remember I had never tlawulat. So, and I tried fixing that last year, and shit went south, and I was just like, y'all know I tried.
Yeah.
So let's go back. And ever since, I've been using this surname. I met the likes of Ondo. I've done amazing things. I've met wonderful people. I'm here today.
Sure.
So ukuleva kwakamalevu kuyasebenza. Seemingly.
What is ukuleva?
Malevu, leva.
All right.
Okay, you missed that one, but yeah.
Now they are all laughing and I'm not laughing.
Never too much.
Sure. I get it. We spoke about Umkhulu, and then you just mentioned that thing you sending Cwzm and uNkulunkulu. Explain that.
So, firstly, I am not for the idea that countries in Africa must have English names. I don't subscribe to that, because what that does is it takes away the originality of the country. It takes away abantu knowing exactly and questioning who and what they are. Ningizimu, posted about it the other day. Ningi means many. Zimu derived from Zimzimu, Islwane. Ningizimu, place of many gods.
Sure.
Therefore, it's a place of many gods. It means you're a god, I'm a god. Hence, it's been significant in my life, going back and realizing the God that Mkhulu was. But it's not just about Mkhulu. Mkhulu came from gods. Malevu, Nonzama came from gods. Now I'm taking ownership, right? That poverty that was there in the family, I understand I'm here to earn it. Yes, they've been living in a mud house for 39 years. I'm here to change that. I've done things that they've never done. Again, there's so much that oppression, colonialism, and apartheid has done in Africa.
Sure.
People are so lost.
Yeah.
So much so we've got places that we call Onzalo Yelanga, where Ilanga Malpagama, it's one of the first few places it hits. When you go there, you get heightened frequencies in Zimbabwe, because we are vibrational beings. We are great spirits having the human experience. If you don't know this, you can't benefit of this information, right?
Sure.
When I was going through my awakenings, here's what worked for me, and I hope it works for you. It is water. It is the sun, like literally looking at the sun when it rises. Nasemini, trees, ujani, writing as much as I possibly can. gotten to this moment because of that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to you, go back to nature. Again, it's what I said, religion and what's not, because religion will never say that to you. What. Go to nature. That's where, beautiful thing. Why nature is important. The other day, there's a lady, she was on TikTok. If you go on TikTok and you say, lady speaking to a tree, you'll see. Guys, everything is alive. And when you go back to nature, you truly realize that everything is alive. And you realize how powerful you are and the power you have to command things to be.
Yeah.
Is it command or command? Always is, but you know what I mean.
Kona loko. Yeah.
So, tree, touch my hand. Tree, touch my hand.
Yeah.
She films around us, checking, says there's no one. At a tree, touch my hand. She said, tree, touch my hand. Eventually, it touches her hand. That's how our entire existence are. This whole thing of South Africa, people have forgotten that part of themselves. Because if it was a thing that is pushed, and mainstream, a lot of people will be like, what does Ningizimu mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, place of many gods. Okay, then I must be a god. But then you now know the grades that come from your family. I'll give you a typical example. It's bindi that I have now. It's because a lot of shit has happened in my life. Am I allowed to curse? But a lot of things have happened in my life. My paternal family. Mesishita zakazama sizochucha umashizo usiyana nondlovu umkhandi wensimbi umfaza kashawa ushawa all that, but asnage leka umkhandi wensimbi, right?
Yeah.
So umkhandi wensimbi is great. I loved bravery yakhe, and it's what carries me to this day. How so? Ushaka had to go to war.
Yeah.
And he needed spears.
Oh, okay.
Ubanobenza ama spears. Unzama umkhandi wensimbi.
All right.
So Shaka goes to umkhandi wensimbi namabutho akhe what. We need umkhandi wensimbi is fine, sure, uzokunikeza inkomo. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's the agreement. They go to war, they conquer, and then doesn't honor his end, Ushaka. And then what does umkhandi wensimbi do? Raises a middle finger. Now I'm thinking, if it was me, I probably would have raised the middle finger. Hey, lo, untola masepa. And then, wahamba umkhandi wensimbi from eWosi or wherever, because let's go to lapho entonjambili to eWosi or Wosiana. Wahamba wayakwaZulu. Wazilanda inkomo esibayeni zikaShaka. Waphuma nazo. Asibabevumelene? Waphuma nazo. Wabuyela nazo kwakhe. It's unfortunate how he died, because kunendawo lapha amanyuka entonjambili kuthiwa isambatha ubamba sambatha something, but it's derived from ukuthi wabanjwa lapho umkhandi wensimbi, and then they walked him back with inkomo masebefika kaShaka bamlalisa phansi inkomo zahamba phezulu and that's how he died. But that was an act of bravery. If I know I've got an ancestor who was that brave, do you think I'll be worried by what you have to say to me on Instagram? I could say, oh, Thulani, I'm yellow. Or
yeah. People always have something to say, especially on social media, because
people will always have something to say.
Social media. Oh, another thing before I get to that part.
Yeah.
You're speaking about ilanga, you're speaking about trees, and I'll say something. Mhlambe abantu abangaze bayibuke mfethu ngalendlela ke ngiyibuke ngayo yabo, in terms of nature, connecting with nature and being that person of nature, ukhuluma ngamanzi, ukhuluma ngezihlahla, ukhuluma ngomhlabathi, ukhuluma ngelanga mfethu, because
amanzi imfula ulwandle.
I believe in that connection with nature. You see,
ngihlala
eThekwini mase ngihlala kakhulu ngithi ngiyagodwa ngisafuna ukushaya umoya, because la
concrete jungle
yabo, it's ngiyaphela isonto 2 weeks angaze ngisithinde isihlahla, angaze ngunyathela umhlabathi, angingena endlini ngiphuma endlini
ngithi uzizwe ngathi
yabo, and I can feel myself losing my mind. You see, and mangisuka ngisho njalo mfethu, because siyalusa masikhula yabo, and ekuluseni ngasekhaya khona idepho ngasekhaya yabo. So noma ngingasalusi manje, and you look at that and ufike emhlabathini mfethu ufike ehlahleni, walk in the jungle, you see izinyoka, see everything of in nature, and see all those dangerous things which they're not so much really dangerous. You see, you could be chilling sihleli kanje and nansi inyoka ihamba ezinyaweni zakho, and you just like akwenzi lutho, and you connect with those things, and you start to look at impilo ngendlela ehlukile masukhona. Now back to social media. Social media inikezana lanto yokuthi ngiyakwazi ukukhuluma and anyone nongenadosi kuyantinyela. Now let's go back to iningezemo and the explanation you're giving for iningezemo. Would you say the same? Would you have an explanation for inyakatho, Mpumalanga, Ntshonalanga? Maybe not so much on Mpumalanga and Ntshonalanga because lokho kuyazisho.
Yes, but I don't have an explanation. I'll be very honest with you.
Sure.
One thing about me, I try to not lie.
Yeah.
Because I don't want lies catching up with me. And also when you must, build another lie so I don't want that. I don't have an explanation per se. I don't. I'll be very honest with you. I don't. Sure. I just know Wuti Ilanga has done wonders for me. Yeah. I know that I can communicate with the sun, Mina.
Yeah.
Therefore, I know this. If I can, surely should I get to a point where I have kids, again, this is me, not us. Should I get to a point where I have kids, my kids will be able to speak to the sun. Because I've experienced it, I know. My grandfathers could do it. I'm now taking full ownership of who and what I am. So I don't have much to say on Nyingizimu, Nyagato, what. But all that I will say is follow that smaller Nyana voice, dig deeper, follow whatever the conversations that want to come out from inside of you. Follow that. More answers will be revealed. There's Obabu Credo Mutwa. People who've done really, really well in terms of Umsebenzi Kamoya. There's many other people who are great who are always teaching. So educate yourself as much as you possibly can.
Any last words before we close off?
Any last words before we close off? Thank you to you.
Thanks.
Thank you to you for this opportunity. Yeah. And thank you to the person that will be watching and receiving this for your time, your patience. And this is a continuation of something great. Yeah. This is the birth of a superstar, if I can say that myself. There's so much I'm yet to do. I don't want to say much. There's a lot of projects I'm working on this year. Watch out. Just watch out. Just watch out. I don't know, is there a question?
Oh. Word of the day.
Word of the day.
Yeah.
I would say inside.
Inside.
Yes. Ngaphakathi.
Sure.
Mshubo yonke into ngaphakathi.
Right. Before I let you go, still running, eh? Yeah. You said you see yourself global. You see, what is that one place that you wish to perform at? One stage you wish to perform on?
What is that one place I would love to perform at?
Yeah.
Here's what I would like to do. So I will go out into the world, receive world domination and what. And then I'll come back, I'll have an annual event as a show. Right? So I would love to perform ngasekhaya.
Sure.
A show where if maybe I could do a giving a homecoming, I don't know what.
Yeah.
But I think that for me will be amazing. Why so? Because again, it will do something to ingane zangakithi, knowing ukuthi this is a global star. If I've won a Grammy and I've won 15, then they will know ukuthi we definitely can, because my life is simply just that.
Sure.
So I'd say ngakit.
Dream collaboration.
I would have loved to have worked with Ubabilaki Dube, but it's late now.
May he so rest in peace.
May he rest. Also, again, the music I make it because of him.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
My mother loved him so much.
Yeah.
As you watch me rise and you look at Ubabilaki Dube, you'll see a lot of similarities. We are very conscious, and I took that from him. So Right now, I don't have a specific artist I'd like to work with. I'm open to working because I believe everything is guided by the spirit.
Yeah.
I don't have a specific. I
Okay.
don't. I don't. And funny enough, me being me, this is weird actually. Do I don't. I know I'm inspired by black coffee. I'll tell you that much. I love Utandiswa. I love Zoe Moticha. Dream collaboration. Probably in the mix of those people. When I don't know. But this is Zoe. I had seen her after a gig in 2022 when my things were still okay before Ziti's into her. And then I said to her, I'd love to work with you. Give me 3 years. And she said, okay. And then it's the 3rd year. So let's say this year something has to give. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know me. If you know Lucky Dube, you will know that's part I'm saying. I'm education me.
You're chilling with the Zulu man.
Now that we're here, actually, I'd like to work with the Prince.
Prince KB.
I'd like to.
Oh, let's put that one under those dream collaborators.
Yeah, I'd like to work with him. I like his sound. Who else? Msaki is amazing, guys. Msaki. There's Usane Edokonji, Usane musician.
Oh, yeah.
If I could work with Usane. There's Gabza. Oh, man, dog, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are talented. But here's what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I will not work with any and everyone. Because I understand what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I think very highly of myself. I think of myself, one of the likes of like Dube or Zonke or Sahara. That's where I put myself. Now,
Bro, once you mention those people, you have to mention who's Java, bro. You have to mention who's Java. Once you mention those people, you have to mention who's Java. If you mention Lucky Dube, you mention Sahara, you mention Brenda Fass, you mention Zonke. Java has to be there, bro. Java has to be there.
Amakehla. You know that video?
Yeah.
The setup of okay, let's get into it. Again, we don't walk alone. That video, I like how they've done it when either he's standing or when you're out so in the video, but there's chairs, you could see shadows. Yes.
Yeah.
Literally, they are saying that Africa, wake up! You don't walk alone. With everything that you are going through, it is because awuzazi ungubani. If you could go back to who you are, you would know. I am not a millionaire by mistake.
Sure.
I'm not. It's because I had to go back and then shed off the poor Thulani and then rise to my millions.
On the previous episode, uputo bekhona uthena abantu abamnyama umuntu meno 2 million ucathi rich. What would you comment on that?
2 million is nothing. That is the God honest truth. 2 million rands is nothing. It can make something. It can make a difference.
Yeah.
Right now, if you can give me 2 million rands, probably it would be gone in a week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily splurge it, but because I've got things to do.
Sure.
Business. But it's nothing. It really isn't. So they used to say this a while back. If you've got 10 million, you're right. Now 100 million is the new 10 million. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah, that's what we're gunning for.
Igama ukhohlwa umfazi oswayidela indoda uMatuba ayishiye mkhonto kwaza amazulu faka saka somthembu kangunyana ngathi babengunya umfazi namadoda. And this is chilling with the Zulu man.
You're chilling with the Zulu man.